I'm Shay,
And I'm Shaylin.
and this is
We're
Shay's
good.
Scareland.
So yeah, you recognized my shirt. I was very proud of
I
you.
did. I did
It's
recognize it.
my love for Julia Roberts. Missing pizza.
So we are continuing on our road trip, and we are in Illinois. So we stopped off in Chicago at the museum with some students, medical students, for Flatliners.
We're at Loyola uh, University, right? That's
I
where
don't
the
know.
med students.
I don't know.
Well, you picked this movie, or it came about because we'd already done so many Chicago
Yes,
movies.
so many Illinois movies. Halloween, Child's Play, Candyman.
But yeah, I'd
Yeah.
never seen this movie. I had been meaning to
I'm
watch it.
surprised. I am blown away when you said you have not seen Flatliners. Like, there's a Kiefer Sutherland movie you've not seen. I don't
Especially
understand.
because this is like around the time. This is hot keeper. I mean, he's still good
Right.
looking, but like this is
Well,
like,
look at the whole cast.
yeah.
You
I mean,
know,
I don't know. I've never
Kevin
understood Kevin
Bacon,
Bacon's appeal. I'm sorry.
Billy Baldwin, Oliver
Billy
Platt,
Baldwin's
Julia
cuteness. Yeah,
Roberts, Kiefer Sutherland.
yeah.
Come on, all stars, all.
Star-studded. Yeah. But Kiefer Sutherland, I think he did Lost Boys right before this, so
Probably,
he
I think
still
so. I
looked
think it
his.
was the same director,
Hmm.
which explains a
Yeah.
lot. It does have very similar vibe. As I was rewatching it, I was like, it does feel Lost Boys. You know what I noticed right now is your eye makeup matches your pizza.
Oh, Michael, or is it yellow?
It's like a yellowy. It matches the
Quit
cheese
pointing out my
and.
wet spot.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Anyways, back to
I'm
Flatliners.
trying to. Yes. So interesting film.
So it's like
With
five or six. How many of them are there? One, two, three, four, five. Five med students who are trying to see if there is life after death. So they're trying to. That Kiefer Sutherland's idea, his brainchild, is he's going to be put down, like put down, like
he's an animal.
he's going to die
Go under. He's gonna
essentially, go
die.
under.
Flatline.
He's going to flatline, and then have all the other med students, you know, revive him and come back and then explain what it was that he saw.
Yeah, because everyone's usually curious about
Sure.
that, right?
Yeah. And so they think they're making groundbreaking discovery or whatever. Now, it's in one way I go, okay, I get it. But considering there are so many stories where people have seen similar items, and then so many stories where people have seen completely different things, I can't imagine everybody would have like this not groundbreaking.
Yeah, I feel like it's all, and there's no way to really prove what you saw. So to
Right.
me, it's just open to interpretation. You can
Exactly.
think, you imagine something, or you actually saw it. He once he does it, I think he goes for a minute. Is he the
He
first
starts
one
with a
to
minute,
do it?
yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
then
then
they
the
all
other
start
ones
amping the
immediately want to
time.
do it, and I'm like, what? I would be like, oh, cool,
Yeah, I
pass.
like
Like I don't want to
when
do
Julia
this.
Roberts' character is like, I'm gonna do it for 4 minutes. And I'm like, hey, first of all, you're a crackhead. Second of
Yeah,
all,
like
can't you just take your friend's word for shit and go, you said it was good?
yeah. I mean, of course, he hadn't disclosed that he basically brought back his sins with him, or different like things from his past that start
Guilt,
beating him
his
up
guilt.
and everything. Yeah, and so had he told them that, they claimed that that would have changed their mind, which I don't think it would have. But
I don't think it would have, because you're not gonna believe him. But and what it was it wasn't just that it brought your sins back into reality. It's a lot like that Edgar Allan Poe story. I forgot what it's called, where he kills somebody and puts him under the boards in his house, and then people come and his conscious keeps getting to him, so he's hearing things, he's hallucinating, and cops come over to be like, hey, are you all right? We hear some noise or whatever, and then he starts freaking out that, oh, they know, and he's hallucinating, he's
yeah,
paranoid. It's the same thing, type of, I think it's the same type
yeah,
of thing.
kind of like your unfinished business, maybe.
Right. Right. So it's like what you feel was your biggest guilt, your biggest regret, is coming back, and now his, because obviously is taking a physical form, and then the kid is not actually beating him up, but he's kind of doing it to himself. He's beating himself up.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Cause I'm like, a kid couldn't do that to his face and stuff. Like, he gets pretty gnarly,
Well, like when he's in the truck, he has that axe or whatever, and he actually pushes it
Well,
into his
yeah,
shoulder, but he's beating himself up over it. So essentially, you're like that phrase, quit beating yourself up,
yeah,
is it's figuratively. He is literally
yeah,
beating himself up.
yeah. Like,
And
nobody else would see the kid, right?
right, no one sees him.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then hers is her father, which I feel like that whole story is so strange because, like, her dad ends up going and shooting himself, but like,
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't she like, I don't know, she'd probably rather have a dad who's gonna go to rehab and recover from drugs than shoot
Well, it
his.
wasn't just that. He was in the war, and so
No,
he
I
came
know, but I'm
back and he
saying,
had
like,
PTSD. So then
like,
he
but
was
he was so embarrassed by her seeing him or walking in.
right,
I think that was because she was never supposed to open that door or
right.
something. So then he immediately goes and shoots himself. I was
Yeah,
hoping
it's
that.
like PTSD, and then
Yeah,
he probably was having PTSD episode, and then decided to shoot up to relieve himself of feeling, and then before he got to do it, because he hadn't started, right? He was just like sitting
yeah.
in the room, and she walked in, and he probably felt immense guilt from her seeing him like that.
I feel like a
He
kid
just
wouldn't even know what you're
freaked
doing, but
out and ran off and then killed himself.
yeah,
Then the mom blamed her.
yeah, which
So
is
that,
terrible of the mom.
oh
Yeah,
yeah. So then it was her guilt that she's the reason her dad died, because she wasn't supposed to walk into that room and she
yeah. I
did.
was never. That's so ridiculous, and I know that happens in real life, and people push that on kids for something like that. It's like she didn't know. She just
Right.
went
She's a kid.
to the
She's a kid.
bathroom.
Yeah. And then the
Um,
same thing with Kevin Bacon. His guilt was picking on a young girl in elementary school.
Kevin Bacon looks like he would pick on people. Like like he looks like the bully at school. Like even more than Keeper. Something about him is like the little shit kid that picks on people.
It's his
You know
hair.
what I'm talking
I think
about?
it's his
Like
hair.
it's I've seen that kid. Growing up in El Centro, there's a lot of Kevin Bacons. I feel like he looks like a bully. Um, but so to me, Julia Roberts was like a happy, once she resolves it with her dad,
Right. Right.
wasn't scary. And Kevin Bacon goes and apologizes
He
to
finds her and
himself.
apologizes, and it lifts
Yeah,
a burden on himself. So he no longer sees her coming at him on the bus, calling him stupid names and shit. And then, of course, there's Billy Baldwin, who's just a creep. And he's just a creep in
he's
literally
got
every
his sex
movie.
video collection. I mean, maybe he's a creep in real life. I don't know, but I love it. I love the hidden camera. He's like looking up at it, like I was like, what a piece of shit. And I
Yeah.
knew his girl obviously was gonna find those tapes.
Right. And then
That's so
why do you name them? Why? I
know.
mean, why are they categorized? Why?
And you have them named and just on display. Like they're not
Right.
hidden
You just open
under
a
a
cabinet and
box.
there's like a
Yeah.
list of women's names. What the
Like
fuck?
like that's a bit much. Like no girl's ever been there and you had the cabinet open or something,
Right.
very
And then she comes over and lets herself in, and she's never noticed this before. And then he's like torn, like, I think what bothers me about his character is I never felt that he actually cared for the girl,
yeah.
his
I mean, it
fiance.
doesn't go into it too
Well,
much.
because they tried to show that he loved her, because he would feel like watching their engagement video, like, oh, I feel something. But I don't feel you felt anything until
Yeah.
she left you.
He didn't feel anything if he's banging other chicks and recording it and then watching it
Right.
later. Like
Right.
there's no justifying that. Like, come on. One maybe, but like 20, he's a bad person.
Right.
But he's like in his mid-20s or something. Let him live. Who cares? Do whatever you want.
Right.
I mean,
But then I
don't
think
record people without their
his
permission. But
his like redemption or whatever was his girlfriend leaving him, because he had the guilt
yeah,
of doing this. And I don't think he felt bad that he actually did that to these women. He felt bad that he was
not at all.
engaged and did that to these
Yeah,
women.
of course not, because he's not looking at those women as marriage
People.
material. He's like, oh, they're just disposable. Yeah,
Right.
um, you know, they're just material or something. But
Right.
I don't know. His character is strange. Like his flashback or his death is strange. It's like the nipple. I think that's why I got an R rating or something. I mean, I guess they kind of curse
Yeah.
a little bit in the movie, but
Well, and then
definitely.
Oliver Platt, I love him. He's just like, I'm not having this. I will
Yeah.
be here. I don't even know what he did.
Yeah, what was his job?
What did he
Because
do? I love that
I
everyone
mean,
had like a
sometimes it's the
job, but
only. Yeah, well, that was my beef with it. Okay, so when they're doing CPR, I want to say it's to Julia Roberts, or does it happen again? I don't know. They switched from like the proper pump to mouth, and you
yeah.
would never do that. Like you're giving a better breath with the medical equipment. Like that was the only what I noticed like a flub, because I know they studied with doctors for this or whatever, they were
Mhm.
trained. But like you wouldn't do that with CPR. Like that is the best like hardcore breath you're giving with that device
Mhm. Mhm.
compared to doing mouth to mouth. And maybe it was like Kevin Bacon wanted to connect with her and give her his energy. You know, I
Well,
was trying to
she
like.
did because it's not just with her. It's her because hers is she had a hard time coming back. But then also when Nelson decides I'm just going to go and do this myself and
Well, he
is
had a
out
death
for
wish.
like 10 minutes or some craziness.
But aren't they doing CPR slow? Did you ever? I had to do training for that, and I felt like it was faster. Like, remember in The Office where they're doing it to that song, like because it's fast, and they're doing it
Mhm.
really slow. Maybe it's
Mhm.
because the person is dead.
I
I have
don't
no.
know. I have so many questions on things like the opening scene where Kevin Bacon's like in a
Oh yeah.
basement and I'm like, this is not even an emergency room. What is going
Well, it's
on?
supposed to be an emergency room in
It's
Chicago,
not. It's a
but so
creepy basement.
yeah, I had a question about that too because I think he went against the lady's rules and tried to bring her back, and she died, or what
No,
happened?
because he's a student. He's not a doctor.
Got it.
So he just
Okay.
decided to do things without waiting for the actual doctor to come in.
Okay.
So he started
But
ahead
she
of time.
lived.
Yeah, she lived. But that was his whole beef was, well, she lived. I made the right decision.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
he didn't follow the rules. And the nurse was like, you need to wait for the doctor. And he's just like cutting into her, like,
Oh, you're right.
and
Yeah.
so, but then I also wondered, like, okay, what schooling are you guys doing? Because your guys are working on cadavers like all the time. Like, you're not working on people. I don't even understand, except for Julia Roberts, who goes and talks to the hospice people.
Yeah. Well, that's just because she's fascinated with death or something. That's the
Well,
way they
that's
write that
because
up.
her dad killed himself, so now she's like,
Yeah, she wants to know that he's in a better place.
right.
I mean, I have my own thoughts on that, but yeah, I'd like to think yes, we go to magical land afterwards. You know,
Well, yes.
makes a
I
scene.
mean, and then did you know that Kiefer Sutherland and Julia Roberts started dating on this
Oh
movie, and then
yeah,
yeah,
quickly broke up. No, I'm just
and then
kidding.
they broke up. Yes.
You know,
But then I was so weird. Like, there's all these parts where they tried to put so many emotions into it that didn't fit.
yeah,
Like
I
when
never
Kiefer
felt like I was
Sutherland
involved with him.
is like jealous about Kevin Bacon and what I don't even know their actual names in the movie. We're just calling them by their real names.
Well, because I
Kevin
think
Bacon,
was
Julia
it
Roberts.
alluding that they used to date? Is
No,
that
because she
like?
didn't date any of them. Like it was made very clear at the beginning. Like she's not dated any of them.
But they probably all Kiefer probably tried. I
Oh,
mean,
they
she
all
was a
tried.
very good-looking woman
Right.
in med. You know, like
Is
so
it
of
me or
course
does she always like look at the picture behind you? Does she always look sad?
I can't look at the picture behind me. It's a green screen. Let me look real close. I mean, I think it's those. She has the same eyebrows as the Mystic Pizza.
She just always
So I
looks
think
like
it's a like a
sad or always looks deep in
perplexed.
thought. Yeah, very always
Like Katie Holmes has that face too. Always like um.
confused.
She laughs though. She has a big laugh. That's when
No,
she
yeah,
shows
and that's where she comes off in you know,
pretty well.
Pretty Woman as you are the girl next door. This movie, she's the girl
Don't
next
get me
door you want
started
to
on
bang.
Pretty Woman.
Fine.
Don't get me started on that movie. Loved it, of course. Great soundtrack. We loved it growing up, I should say. But like
Hmm.
as I watch it, I'm like, get real. Come on. Anyway,
That's a Cinderella story. What do you want? Oh,
with a hooker. Like I'm sorry. Like it's not a
she
high
was
end
a new
escort.
hooker. She hadn't been a hooker before.
I
She's like
hate
new
you.
on the streets of Virgin.
No, She's
And
a
you
safety girl, and she's got all her colorful condoms. I remember that from seeing it as like a 10-year-old. I already knew. At least it taught me. I thought those were like candy or something. Then you think she's doing drugs. It's the floss. Like, I know that movie way too well for somebody who doesn't agree with it.
You do. You do. You know way too well. But then also with Kiefer is he has this weird jealousy thing where he almost lets Kevin Bacon die.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I'm just
I
like,
saw that happening. I wouldn't have trusted Kiefer.
okay, look
Honestly.
at him. I don't trust him at all.
That's what I mean. Like, they're very trusting because she wasn't even gonna come do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was
No, none
just
of them
letting
were.
Kiefer do it. And I was like, I don't know, this guy seems a little. And then also, so what, you go to prison for murder? Like, I didn't know if they or he signed a release, right? Like, I think at the beginning he's like,
Supposedly they
here,
signed the thing to say that they weren't everything. And then
they chose
Oliver
to do
Platt
it.
looks at it and goes, there's nothing in here saying that we're not responsible for this. I'm out.
That's the best part. Because I thought of that too. I'm like, okay, so when they think Keeper dies, then I'm like, I'm not calling the cops. Like, what?
Right? You're
How
just
are we
like,
gonna explain this?
just
Show
gonna
the
leave him
weird
here.
videotapes? Like, what do the
Yeah.
tapes even show? You know, it's very weird. Because I feel like Billy Baldwin, when he's filming, is like all over the place.
Right?
And then he's
He's
turning it
such
off and
a
on. It probably
he's like,
turned into he wasn't actually on.
he has
It's
it
just
on. He put
like, put it on a tripod or something. Like, I didn't get it.
right. He clearly knows how to do that.
Or no, I mean it was taped in the rack. Wasn't
Whatever.
it?
Then
It's
tape
like
it
electrical
somewhere.
tape. That was the best part. I'm like, dude, come on. You know, Kiefer's big line that it's a good day to die.
It's a good day to die. And then at the
And
end, it wasn't such a good day to die.
like so dramatic. Where do they get all this energy to do stuff? Like they're studying in the day to become doctors, and then at night they're doing this. Like to
Right.
me,
On Halloween.
I want to sleep. Oh yeah, I loved Billy Baldwin and the skeleton. Very
Yeah.
cute.
Because what are you, boner man?
Like yes. But yeah, I liked it for that reason. It's a great 90s movie. Can't believe I'd never seen it, and I haven't watched the remake. Probably won't.
Oh, I won't. I'd stop making remakes.
Babe, come on. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I mean, at least he brought me some sort of Chinese food. You brought me rice? Can you just step on the camera in your underwear so she could see you? Hi, Logan. Just so you can see what I deal with. He brings me, I think this is soup, back to how many Kiefers you give.
How many Kiefers? I give you know what? I have issues with the entire plot of the movie because parts of it don't make sense. But
what? Tell me. What doesn't
well,
make sense?
the whole just like the emotional, they're trying so hard to emotionally tie the characters together, but there's nothing there. There's
Yeah,
no
I
but they tried
definitely,
really hard.
yeah.
And
Wouldn't say it's big on character development at all. I mean, I think that's what
right.
you're saying, is it
Mhm.
tries to like humanize them and then make them seem like better people now, but really they're just doing it to cure their own self-guilt, and they're
Right.
actually still pieces of shit.
It's very 90s. It's
So
very, very 90s. Like, we're doing this for science. No, I'm doing it for myself,
yeah,
for
exactly.
fame and whatever.
Oh,
And
yeah, they're like, that's not the right way. You shouldn't do it for that. And it's like, then why is he doing it?
right? Yeah. I mean, I still give it 4 out of 5
Ooh.
because it's Kiefer and because it's I grew up with this. I love all of these people in other movies, and it's very nostalgic for me.
Yeah, and I think on that level, I love that it takes place mostly at night. I felt very at ease. Felt like my kind of
Okay,
people.
my biggest bitch with this movie is that spit scene.
Oh, the kid? Yeah.
I
Oh,
can't.
that
I
was
cannot. I'm like, this is if I know it's coming, I'm like, oh no, no, no. Skip
yeah, that's a
ahead.
gross.
Is
How do you feel about the Titanic spit scene with your boyfriend Billy Zane? You're into that.
I don't like
And you're
spit. I don't like I don't like people spitting. Don't spit. It's disgusting.
Oh, and I
And
don't mean
movies
the
are
one where
gross.
Leo's teaching her to spit. I mean like Billy Zane getting spit in the face. My dog will not let up. Hi,
Well,
baby.
yeah. I don't like any
You'll
spit
let it go.
at
It's
all.
Billy Zane.
Well, he's not spitting. She's spitting on him, and that's gross. I don't like any spit.
I'll remember that.
No spreading at all.
We're judging on keepers, keeper
Yes.
heads.
Or keeper bodies, whatever.
I'm just gonna say 3.5. I think I'm gonna go lower than you.
Really? Wow.
It's good, but it's not like, you know.
I give it for nostalgia because I grew up. I watched this when I was a kid. To me, it's nostalgic. You've never seen it before, so you don't have the same feelings.
Yeah.
Because you're heartless. You have no feelings.
You sound like my husband. He says that to me every day. But yeah, no, I mean, I would tell people to watch it. I think I ended up watching it about 3 times because I had to rent it. So I was like, I'm gonna make it worth it and keep watching it.
There you go.
But yeah.
So yeah, on that note, we will catch you on the flip side, I guess. So follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and like, subscribe, share, do all the things. Visit our Patreon page. Give a comment, a review. Tell your friends about us. Whatever.
Only nice.
All right, are you ready?
I mean,
I don't know if I have any. You're wet. What?
The thing. Not like, you're so gross.
I said, "Are you ready?" And you said, "Well, I'm wet." I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, no, yeah, then that means you're ready, I guess.